In this exercise, I'm going to connect the hardware circuit as shown in the hardware schematic to test our system. To do so, I'll refer to the RPI pinout diagram, the Etch-a-Bridge pinout diagram, and the table of connections available to your left, as you can see here. Now, in case this was not clear, then I'll share it with you on Blackboard. Note that you need 4 push buttons, an Etch-a-Bridge, a couple of jumper wires, a servo motor, a DC motor, this is the DC motor, and then you also need LEDs and a resistor. These are the components that we need. We also have here our RPI, we have the project board, we have a digital multimeter as well in order to check in case we get any issues afterwards in the connections. Now, let's start implementing our system. In order to do so, the first thing we need to start with is basically placing the push buttons on the breadboard along with the Etch-a-Bridge. Now, since this takes a little bit of time, so I already implemented that. Now you need that in order to connect the push buttons, one of the terminals needs to be grounded while the other terminal is going to be connected to your RPI here. And so I've already connected or grounded the first terminal of each push button, and we're going to connect the other terminal of each push button together to the RPI. Now, let's check the, first of all, as you can see, this is the RPI pinout diagram. Now, this one over here represents the first column, and then the second column is the one over here. Now, you'll notice that on our RPI, the columns are actually rows. So the first one over here, this is actually the first row, and then the second row is this one here. So the first column from the left, and the second one from the right. Okay? Now, let's start. I'm going to zoom in so that it becomes clearer. This is the connections table. Now, in this table, you have the pin, or the component that you need to connect, the pin location on the RPI, where is this pin actually located, I mean, what is the number of that pin, and then on which row, to make it easier for you. So, starting from the first push button, which is the select button, this is connected to pin number 17, and the pin location is 6 in the second row. So this is our second row, and this gets the pin number 6. So I'm going to connect a lead or a wire to this pin in the RPI. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, as you can see, pin number 6 in the second row is connected to the first push button. Just make sure that you're using the same voltage line as the terminal. Now this is going to be a little bit difficult, so I'm going to stabilize it this way. Okay. Now next is our second push button, which is the choose push button. Choose push button is connected to pin number 25, which is the 11th pin in the first row. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so this is our pin, and I'm going to take a jumper wire here and connect it. This should be connected to the second terminal of the push button, which is this one here. Okay, let's just confirm that this is the 11th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Exactly. Okay? Now, next is the forward push button, and this should be connected to pin number 8, which is the 12th pin in the first row. So it's right after this. So let's connect it this way. Here. Okay, and let's connect it to the second terminal of the push button, which is here. Just in order to make it easier for us to see. Okay, this is confirmed, and this is the same voltage line, and this is the same voltage line. Okay, now all 3 pins or push buttons are connected now. Let's connect the fourth one. The fourth one is the backward push button, and it's connected to pin number 7, which is the 13th pin right after this. Okay, so let's connect it. This is pin number 13. I'm gonna choose a long wire. So this is pin number 13 and it needs to be connected to the last push button over here. Okay, now all four push buttons are connected. Next is the Etch-a-Bridge connection. The Etch-a-Bridge pinout diagram is shown here as well. I hope it's clear. Now we're going to start by connecting the pins of the Etch-a-Bridge one by one. Since we're only going to use, or we're going to connect a single DC motor, then we only need the first side of the Etch-a-Bridge. We don't really need to connect the other side. Let's start with the first pin. The first pin is the enable pin. Since we're not controlling the speed of our DC motor, then we can just simply connect the enable pin to a 5 volts, basically. So in order to do so, we need to get 5 volts from the RPi. So I'll be connecting the voltage first. Just give me a second. Okay, so in order to get 5 volts from the RPi, 5 volts is actually pin number 2 in the first row. So this is pin number 2. Okay. Now since I'm actually connecting a screen to my RPi, so most of my, actually 2 of my power source pins are used. And so this is the one that I currently have remaining. So this is the one I'll be using. In your case, if you're not connecting anything, then you can use any of them. Any is fine. Okay, so let's connect it over here. Now this is the 5 volts voltage line. Okay, and then I'm going to connect a wire from one of these holes all the way up to my enable pin in the Etch-a-Bridge, which is the first pin over here. Okay, so correct. All right. Next, we need to connect the input. Now, this pin actually of the Etch-a-Bridge is the first DC input pin. So this needs to be connected to your RPi. I'm going to take another wire. According to this is DC1, and it needs to be connected to pin number 14, which is actually the 4th pin in the first row. So the 4th pin here. Okay, this is connected. So it's the 4th pin in the first row, and it needs to be connected to the 2nd pin of the Etch-a-Bridge. Okay, let's connect it. Alright, so now the 1st and the 2nd pin of the Etch-a-Bridge are connected. Then we're going to connect the 3rd pin. According to the pinout diagram, the 3rd pin needs to be connected, or actually is the first output. So this output needs to be connected to the first motor terminal. I'm going to connect it to the positive terminal of the DC motor. So I'll place the DC motor over here, and then this is going to be connected to the 3rd terminal of the Etch-a-Bridge. So over here. Now all 3 pins are connected. Next comes our ground. So we have 2 grounds. It is always preferred that you connect both grounds. So I'm going to place this here a little bit and press this one. Okay, so this one's a bit lifted now. It makes it easier to connect them. So this is the first one over here, and I'm grounding it. And then another wire to ground the 2nd one. I'm going to use 2 different colors just so that I can differentiate between the 2. Okay, and then this is the 2nd one over here, and I'm going to ground it as well. I know it's a bit messy, but please bear with me. Connecting it directly in front of the camera is a bit difficult, so this is why. Okay, so now this is our first ground and this is our 2nd ground. I'm going to just move them a bit away from the rest of the wires so that it becomes easier. Okay, so now both of them are grounded. This is pin number 3 and it's connected to the first terminal of the DC motor. This is pin number 2 and it's connected to basically to one of the pins of the RPi, and then this is the 5 volts exactly. Okay, so